Hello, Part 1. On 27 June 1880, a baby girl was born to Captain Arthur Killer and Kate Killer in Grade12, Alabama. The parents named their daughter Helen. She was a happy baby, intelligent. At 6 months, she could even say wow. January 1882, Helen almost died of a mysterious illness. Her parents were relieved when the daughter. You are very lucky parents. But shortly after the daughter left, Mrs. K opened her baby's eyes. She called him. She then screamed for Captain, come quickly. Look at Helen. Before he arrived, he heard her cry. She can't see and hear. My baby is blind and deaf. Helen's war was again silent, please. Silent, please. She became a very difficult child to live with. She ran about the house doing whatever she wanted. She became angry and violent very easily and threw things onto the floor or at other people. She fought with other children and sometimes hurt them. Helen was almost a wild child. No one could control her. The killers that didn't know what to do. They needed help. In February 1887, Captain Killer contacted the Parkins Institute for the Blind in Boston. He asked the director of the institute for help with Helen. The director of the institute spoke to a young woman called Annie Sullivan. He told Annie about Helen and asked her if she would like to become Helen's teacher. The director explained Helen is a very intelligent child, but she has no language. There's a treasure inside her that needs to be opened. And I think you can open it. Sullivan was excited by the idea of helping a deaf or blind child. She agreed to travel to Beer and became Helen's teacher. When she arrived at the killer's house, she found it very messy. Helen grabbed Annie's suitcase and he slowly everything out of it. Annie, Annie took a present for Helen. It was a doll. Then, using a special alphabet, she spelled into Helen's hand. L doll. I'm going to teach to do to the wall, she told Helen. Helen grabbed that, threw it violently onto the floor, trying to make her pick it up. But instead, Helen kicked Annie in the face and knocked it too. However, that evening, and he found that Helen was allowed to eat with her hands and take food from other people's plates. Captain Killer explained, "We can't have any peace and quiet, unless we give her what she wants." And he said, "That's exactly the point. This child is spoiled. And he believed that Helen should learn the good manners. She tried to stop Helen from getting out of her dining chair, but Helen fought back. Then, and said to the family, "Please leave me alone with her. I can't if you just let her do." Part 3. I still would have leave the dining room. Was angry with me, but he agreed to go. I forced Helen to sit in a chair and eat from her own plate. She was very strong. She kept the chair and throwing things onto the floor. But finally, she sat and ate her food. On that first evening, very heavy with me. Miss Sullivan, she said about your method of teaching Helen. She ate with a spoon and folded her napkin. I said, her napkin, said Mrs. K. She couldn't believe her ease. The next day, I told Helen's father, I can't do anything with Helen's use unless I have her all to myself. I want her to depend on me for her food, her clothes, everything. Then I asked him if Helen and I could live alone in a guest house in the Keller's garden. He wasn't happy with the idea, but he agreed. He said that Helen and I could live in the guest house for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I thought. Very short time to perform a miracle in the guest house. I had complete control over Helen. Complete control. Okay? In the guest house, I had complete control over Helen. One day, I remember she wanted a period. I said, "Okay, Helen, if this is what you want, there's there's a word for it." I spelled into her hand Cake. Cake. Then I said, "Won't you understand that there's a word for everything? The word where we use." 2 weeks passed. On the last morning, Mrs. Keller spoke to me. She looked very tired. She said, "Why are you very happy with all that you?" She is a different child. Different. I said, "She has manners, but she doesn't have language. She can spell 13 nouns, but she doesn't know what they mean." Later that day, Helen and I were in the garden. I was thinking it was my last day. I needed more time. We walked over to the water pan. I began pumping, then and under the gushing water, as usual. The what for water, WTO water. Then something happened in a very strange voice, as if she remembered something from when she was a baby. I had her. Then she grabbed my hand and Water. I called her. I called for her parents. Captain and Mrs. Keller came running out of the house. Her mother and spelled M-O into our hands. Then Teacher. Next, Helen put her arms around me. She was so happy. She now understood what words were. At last, she had a key to language. The word was hers. I and spelled the words. Ihelen. Helena went on to learn to speak, read, and write. In 1904, she graduated from Radcliffe, Radcliffe College, one of the best colleges in the United States. She later wrote books, appeared in films, toured foreign countries, and became famous all over the world. And Annie stayed together for 50 years and Annie's died in 1936. Helen died in 1968. Okay, thank you. Next, unit 10. Unit 10. Why communication skills? Communication skills. Mountain says, I swai, but today on, Balulu, communication skills. Mountain says, I, no, Mountain says, Samu, now are the abilities to convey our ideas and feelings, attitudes, perceptions, wants, needs, etc., in a precise and lucid manner in accordance with the intention of the person. Person communication either in the spoken or written form, face such as phone, email, and writing. Since communication is usually a two-way interaction between two or more persons. One must also include listening and reading skills among the communication skills. Using words. Spoken variety of features to express different nuances of meaning, such as body language, which includes facial expressions, posture, gestures, tone of voice, eye contact, proximity between speaker and listener, etc. Choice of word, order of words, sentence patterns, the sound system of the language concerned, the organization of text size and design of letters of the alphabet, etc., to gain effects. In addition, an interpretation of the human communication is made more complex due to the fact that more than one meaning can be conveyed by a singer and utterance and inter frequently used to communicate different shades of meaning, including the opposite of the moreover. Moreover, such non-verbal features as the style and color of one's clothes and hair, and for women and some men, the use of certain kinds of jewelry, makeup, lipstick, perfume, as to subtly about the personality of a person. There are many reasons for communication skills to have to come to be regarded as a vital life skill in the 21st century. Firstly, it would be extremely difficult to boost basic needs and wants. Who has had the experience of whose language he or she does not know or attest to. Secondly, just as our appearance creates the first impression, so does the way we speak and write. Thirdly, communication skills are important in our acquaintances and strangers as they can improve relationship or worsen it. Fourthly, good communication skills are required by many jobs, especially those that relate to the position of a salesperson or that of a CEO, as seen from the many job advertisements in newspapers. Fifthly, the higher the position of a person, the more expertise he or she will need in communication, as he or she has to interact with a wide spectrum of people, including those from other countries and cultures in different situations. In Myanmar, with the advent of the market economy, expansion of the micro, small, and medium enterprises, growth in employment opportunities, increase in young people pursuing higher education both at home and abroad, and greater interaction with foreigners and foreign countries for business, tourism, and other purposes. Effective communication, including the ability to use a foreign language, especially in the English language, to translate and interpret, has risen to the factors much in demand these days. On the other hand, with more parents going out to work and reduction in the number of extended families, there seems to be less opportunity for young people to communicate with people of different generations or to receive their guidance on how to converse. Their situation is compounded. The fact that a lot of young people in cities spend more time over there games and surfing the net, talking with other people. It's my impression that young people need to be trained to overcome their shyness and reticence to talk with persons of the different generations. Appropriate use of the polite traditionally used in conversing with older persons in more formal contexts. Thinking, nonverbal, speaking, listening. Some people have the gift of being able to communicate effectively, but some do not. However, this does not mean that it cannot be developed. The place to begin training young people to develop communication skill is the home. It's important that with their children as often as possible, not only to stay connected with them, but also to develop their language skills. Through parental talk, children can enrich their stock of vocabulary and sentence patterns and develop critical thinking, satisfy their surroundings, and expand their mind. Once children are old enough, parents should begin teaching them to use more polite language. The goals the goals of schools and universities should include the promotion of effective communication, as it's not just a vital life skill as pointed earlier, but because it's also a skill that will bring academic skills can be taught as part of the Myanmar English language courses, or it could be included in all the subjects that students have to study. The latter has the opportunity to use communication skills by curriculum and also strengthening linking and knowledge, cultural norms, thinking, and communication are shared not only for students but also for those in employment. Below are some of the prerequisites for developing communities. One, overcoming shyness, brevity, and readiness to talk, so that one can interact with both people one is familiar with as well as strangers. Two, being aware of the audience age, gender, job, status, and interest, education and background, knowledge, etc., to adjust the style of the one's language and topics. Three, being aware of the setting, the place, and the occasion taking place to make one's communication. Having relevant knowledge, vocabulary, and strategy add on a wide range of topics. Five, making informative. So what it will reward into. Six, being aware of how much time is available in order to adjust the length of one's interaction. Seven, to the topic being discussed to make audience. Eight, making one to make it audience. Nine, giving chance talk to one's listener so that one will not be regarded as dominating the interaction too much. Number 10, giving examples relevant to the topic and participants and injecting a bit of humor one that were appropriate to make the interaction interesting. 11. Using polite language to show one's regard for the audience there and to create rapport. Using appropriate tone of voice, body language, gestures, and posture to enhance the audience. In order to promote above mentioned qualities in students to enhance their communicative skills, schools and universities will need to give sustained attention to their development. Schools will need to create a culture of interaction from the very first year students enter school. Teachers should begin their training on communication at the lower primary level by asking students questions and by answering their questions patiently and maintaining children's eagerness to talk. Unit 11. A day's way. A day's way. A day's way. Came into the room to shut the windows while we were still in bed, and I saw looked in. He was shivering. His face was white, and he walked slowly as though it asked to move. I've got a headache. You better go back to bed. No, I'm all right. You go to bed. I'll see you when I'm dressed. But when I came downstairs, he was dressed, sitting by the fire, living a very and miserable boy of 9 years. On his forehead, I knew he had. I said, "You're sick." "All right," he said. When the doctor came, he took the temperature. "What is it?" I asked him. "What?" Downstairs, the doctor left three different medicines in different colors capsules with instructions for giving them. Was to bring down the fever, another a purgative. The third to overcome an acid condition. The germs of influenza can only exist, he explained. He seemed to know all about influenza and said there was nothing to if the fever did not go above 104 degrees. This was a light epidemic of danger if you avoided here pneumonia. Back in the room, down and made a note of give the various capsules. Do you want me to read to you? Read to you? All right, if you want to, said the boy. His face was very whitened. There were dark areas under his eyes. He lay still in the bed, very detached from what was going on. I read out from the Howard Pyle book of pirates, but I could see that I was not following what I was reading. How do you feel, Charles? Charles, I asked him. Just the same so far, he said. I foot of the bed and read to myself while I waited for it. Another capsule. It would. It would have been natural for him to go to sleep. But when I looked up, he was looking at the foot of the bed, looking very strangely. Why don't you try to go to sleep? I'll wake you up for the medicine. I'd rather stay awake. After a while, he said to me, you don't have to stay and her with me, Papa. If it bothers you. No, I mean you didn't don't have to if it's going to bother you. I thought light-headed, and after giving him prescribed capsules at 11 o'clock, I went out for a while. It was a bright, cold cover with a sleet that had frozen so that it seemed as if all the bare trees, the bushes, all the grass and the bare ground had been vanished with the ice. It sat there for a little, walk up the road and allow a frozen. But it was difficult to stand or walk on glassy surface, and the red dog slipped and slithered, and I fell twice, hard once dropping my gun and having it slide away over the ice. We flashed the convey of a queer and a high cliff bank with overhanging brush, and I killed two as they went out of sight over the top of the bank. Some of them lived in trees, but most of them scattered into brush pines, and it was necessary to jump on a springy branch. They made difficult to misbehaved and started begging the police to close to the house and happy to find on another day. House. They said the boy had refused to let anyone come into the room. You can't come in, he said. You mustn't get what I have. I went up to him and found him in exactly the position I had left him, white faced, but over the tops of creeks flushed by the fever, standing still as he had shared starred at the foot of the bed. I took his temperature. What is it? Something like 100, I said. It was 102 and 14. 102, he said. Who said so? The doctor? Your temperature is all right, I said. It's nothing to worry about. And don't worry, said. But I can keep from thinking. Don't think, I said. Just take it easy. I'm taking it easy, he said and looked straight ahead. He was evidently too onto himself about something. Take this water. Water. Do you think it would do any good? Of course it would. I sat down and opened the pirate book and commenced to read. But I could see that he was not following, so I stopped. I stopped. About what time do you think that I am going to die? He asked. What? About how long will it be before I die? You? You aren't going to die. What's the matter with you? Oh, yes, I am. I heard him say I had 102. Fever don't die with a fever of 102. That's a silly way to talk. I know that they do. As school in France, the boys told me you can't live with 44 degrees. I've got it 102. He he had been waiting to dine all day, even since 9 o'clock in the morning. You poor Shaz, I said. Poor old Shaz. It's like it's like miles and kilometers. You aren't going to die. That's a different thermometer. On that thermometer, 37 is normal. On this kind, it's 98. Are you sure? Absolutely, I said. It's like miles and kilometers. You know, like how many kilometers we make when we do 17 miles in the car. Oh, he said. But his gaze, his gaze at the foot of the bed relaxed slowly. The whole over himself relaxed too. Finally, and the next day it was very slack and cried very easily at little things and they were of no importance. Unit 12, intellectual communication. Intercultural communication. The 21st century world has become a more diverse community as a result of the rapid changes in the global economy, technology, and transportation. There has been more contact among people who are from different religious, social, ethnic, and educational backgrounds. Therefore, intercultural communication plays an important role in diverse cultural contexts. Intercultural communication is a discipline that studies communication across the different cultures and social groups, or how culture affects communication. When we deal when we deal with the people from different cultures, intercultural conflicts and misunderstandings may arise from differences in cultural values and tradition and practice. Study the following blog post to see how different cultural backgrounds lead to certain conflicts and misunderstandings that affect communication. Blog 1, Post 1. Under the Japan Exchange and Teaching JET program. Megan, an Australian teacher, was excited to have the challenging experiences in Japan. After delivering our first lecture, he asked our Japanese colleges for some suggestions on her lecture. Did it work? She didn't receive any negative. One said no to her. Now she has been in Japan 2 months and she hasn't heard the word IEE. No. What an exciting experience for her. Blog post 1. Japanese people feast as others or even make them lose face. We usually use many other such as maybe or perhaps instead of saying ဖြစ်ခြင်းလည်းဖြစ်မယ်ဖြစ်ကောင်းဖြစ်လာနိုင်လည်းဖြစ်မယ်မှားတစ်ပါးလွယ်၍ပေါ့ဆရာတို့ဘာလို့ဆိုရင်မဖြစ်ဘူး no လည်းအငင်းစားပေါ့နော်ဖြစ်ခြင်းလည်းဖြစ်လာမယ်ဆိုတဲ့သဘောပေါ့နော် for me she is ready to welcome any useful suggestions even if they hurt our feelings blog post 2 Rose was a newly arrived student on campus. After a few weeks in the USA, a classmate asked him, Jules, what are your plans for this week? Let's hang out. Jules was surprised at her request to go out and thus he was hesitant to respond to it. In mind, Emma felt awkward. She made an excuse and left. Jules realized that he had annoyed her. For Jews in his homeland Brazil, it's unusual for a woman to start asking for a date, not knowing the fact that it's the man who initiates a dating request in Brazil and asks for a date first. In a community, it's just a casual invitation to have a friendly chat, just to have a pure fun and get to know each other more. Purpose 3. James and his Italian friend between the University of Oklahoma, University of Texas at Austin. During the match, during the match, the OU fans held up their index finger, which means we are number one. The Texas fans held up the index finger and the little finger, which means Hokum horns. According to their mascot Longhorn, Hokum horns can be broadly interpreted as defeat them. To Antillean, those gestures mean very different. The first one, holding up the index finger, is an offensive manner, and the second one, holding up the index finger and the little finger, is one of the was insult for an Italian man. It when we see in blog post 3 that people from different cultural backgrounds communicate their emotions differently by means of nonverbal communication, such as gestures. Gestures can be different from one to another. This means that a gesture is acceptable in one culture might not be tolerated in another. Global School. Lee Yong-mi, a Korean student, came to Myanmar under the Quaker and became friends with Tuza Aung, a teenage girl. Neither of them could speak the language. However, communication was going well as they could communicate with each other in language. Tuza addressed Leon, Leon, and the loser all on. A few weeks later, Korean girl said, I feel a bit uncomfortable. One, that's my family name. Please call me Yao. As a member who is learning English, that family name might be the last name, and the Korean girl also thought as an answer. The family name of our Myanmar friends is Tuza. Each of them realized that their gods were wrong, and then became comfortable and happy with the name they wanted. In Blopo School, the two friends different lands and made wrong guesses about how to be addressed, as they did not realize that each culture has its own naming system. All these blog posts sure that people from different cultures communicate messages and perceive the, the world around them differently. Intercultural communication involves not only an interaction between people from different countries, but also communication between subgroups or ethnic groups within the same country. There are also differences in various aspects of culture, values, beliefs, ri- rituals, norms, language, and symbols. Intercultural conflicts and misunderstandings may occur as a result of these differences. To event fogs, bags, or social blend. In any international communication, intercultural awareness should be raised. This should certainly reduce social conflicts when two or more two or more people of the different nationalities or ethnic groups come into contact. အားလုံးကိုကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်